a great pleasure to have you with us, Saurabh, and thank you for finding the time.
Thank you for inviting me for this. Thank you to you and Pradhan for doing this.
So, Saurabh, you are a Principal Secretary in the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment in the state of Odisha.
Yes.
Very keen to know what are some of the current programs and initiatives that your department is involved in, especially in the context of farmers empowerment.
There are a number of activities that we are doing, but one of the major ones that we started recently was the program called Kalia, which was for augmentation of farmers' incomes. And that was kind of a quasi-universal basic income transfer program, which we initiated about slightly over a year back. And now we are covering nearly 50 lakh farmers, and it's focusing on small and marginal farmers, landless agricultural households and sharecroppers, so that we provide them funds directly into their bank accounts. So that is something new that we have started. Apart from that, to ensure that we are able to reach out to farmers, we have started a service called Amar Krishi, where we give advisories to farmers on their mobile phones. If they have feature phones, they get text messages. If they have smartphones, they get video messages or others. So that ensures that if there is some pest attack, some rainfall, so that farmers can take immediate activities and immediate corrective activities can be done. We have also improved our monitoring of our schemes by having a dashboard by which field agricultural workers can directly input the program details, and we are at an instant able to know which program is doing well in which block and where it is not doing, so that we can talk to that person concerned that what is the problem.
So there is a large percentage of tribal population within the state. Is there something special that your department would do, keeping the tribal population also in mind?
Yes. Odisha has one of the largest tribal populations in the country. So in fact, there are certain programs that we have focused for them, and one of them is the Odisha Millets Mission, where millets or ragi, which has been the predominant millet, has been grown by the tribals over a long time. But post Green Revolution and the focus on paddy, a lot of it had land which were rightfully suited for ragi or millets were been shifted to other crops, especially paddy. So keeping in view that millets is a rain-fed crop and it can grow in highland and midland, unlike paddy, which is essentially a lowland crop. So we started this program in the tribal blocks, and with the objective of increasing the production of millets, as also the consumption, by ensuring that it comes in back into the plates of and the pallets of tribals, as also in the urban area. So that's a program, and we even started procurement of millets, and we are allowing 1 kg instead. They can substitute rice instead of ragi in the area. Another program that we've started recently is with Pradhan, is on the Agricultural Entrepreneurs Promotion Scheme, where again we are looking at the 40 most backward tribal blocks and trying to ensure that entrepreneurs in that area are developed from among the youth. So that's a program that we have a high level of hopes from, and let's see how it goes.
So there's been a lot of conversation. Our understanding is that as your department and within the state, there is a lot of collaboration that is being done with civil society organizations. There is an attempt to bring in corporates. So what's your sense of experience of how some of these civil society organizations are contributing? What's the corporate role into this?
There are some of the programs that we've launched recently. We have done it in collaboration with civil society organizations. And these are grassroots organizations, I would call them community-based organizations. For example, the Millets Mission, also the focus on organic farming under the PKVY, Paramparagat Krishi Vigyan Yojana. So what we are doing in these programs is that at the block level or at the panchayat level, we are identifying NGOs, civil society organizations who have been working in that area and who have a good network and a connect with the farmers, And our experience has shown of the programs that we are doing, for example, the organic farming or millets, that the programs that we've done with NGOs have a much better uptake by the farmers. And it also ensures sustainability, because these are NGOs who have connect and have been working with the farmers out there. So the acceptability of new programs is so much higher. And I think it also improves the monitoring and the way the implementation. So we've been very happy with our collaboration with NGOs, and we are hoping to expand it in a number of other programs, so that the community organization, which is so much the forte of the NGOs, they do that. And the technical part in terms of providing the technical knowledge, etc., that is done by our field staff. And in this connection, even a lot of the corporates are joining in, because one of the constraints that we have in government program is that we are unable to fund the manpower costs of many of these NGOs. So that way a number of corporates with their CSR funds, or for example in the AEPS, the Bharat Rural Livelihoods Foundation, they have come forward to take care of the manpower costs of the NGOs, and the technical programs, in any case the funds are there with the government programs.
Looking at the national level, and you've had some stints at the central level also, what's your sense on some of the development issues that the country is faced with? What are the ones that kind of bother you the most?
I think from the sector that I'm presently working in, and that's on the rural side, I think one area that we would need to look at much more, and we're starting to look at that, is on market connect and market linkages. Because it's not, for example, in the agriculture sector, one can't depend entirely on the procurement system to take care of the marketing needs. And I think we are talking of doubling farmers' income or even increasing it more. That cannot really happen without ensuring that the price that is received by the farmers is of the right levels. And for that you need market linkages, both in the domestic market and export markets.
So you're talking of market linkages. I think one of the issues that keeps coming up, they're saying that on one end we are chasing a certain level of GDP, we would like to be a 5 trillion economy. On the other hand, there are certain sustainable development goals, SDGs, that we as a country are committed to. Do you see the two going hand in hand? Do you see a sense of conflict between the two? What's your view on that?
I think that growth in the economy, growth of the GDP is a necessary condition before we can consider a long-term sustainability of the SDGs. So whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it's nutrition, whether it's hygiene, all these are, I would say, intricately linked with the socio-economic levels of peoples. So I think both these goals are necessary, and while no doubt only growth in economy may not lead to a change in the HDI, but to think that we can have a growth in the HDI without having a strong economic growth or high levels of income would also be perhaps not a very sustainable method.
What would be your sense of, do you see professionals playing a larger role in the development sector? Do you see a cross-fertilization of state, market and civil society players happening to kind of speed up the process of overall development?
Definitely. For example, if you notice, there is also a number of programs that the government has started. For example, the Prime Minister's Rural Development Fellows are there. Okay. And then you have young professionals in the Niti Aayog who are being put out on the field. And at the same time, I think the NGO sector has also reached that critical mass, that you have a number of young people joining the development sector, which perhaps maybe a decade or two back was not conceivable. So whether it's the state, whether it's the civil society or the corporate sector, I think that realization on CSR, the corporate sustainability, and the focus of the state much more on the social sectors, I think infrastructure has always been an area where there has been a demand, but the social sector investments have also been realized are necessary along with infrastructure growth. So I think it's an area where a lot of young people are entering, and that bodes very well for the country.
You were a chemical engineer from IIT, and then you did an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, and then you joined. Did you join the private sector initially?
Yes. I was working in the Tata Administrative Service.
Services.
I was there for a couple of years.
Before you joined the IAS.
And before I joined the IAS, and I enjoyed my work out there.
Right.
But I think what has given me, what should I say, a kick in the working in this area is the ability to make an impact on what you are doing, and that impact is across lakhs of people that is there. At the initial levels, you are working at the district or sub-district levels, and implementing programs and implementing them better. But I think the ability to be able to develop programs and in different sectors, and to be able to implement them and see them through.
Okay.
I think that's been really challenging and exciting.
So you're happy with the decision that you took to come in?
Well, I said there are always highs and lows everywhere. So obviously it will not be depends at various times, but overall, yes, it's been a very exciting, and I think working in Odisha has been a real challenge and excitement. The kind of space that is available to work out there, and the acceptability of innovation, which also helps. So that so I mean, I worked for a few years in Kalahandi, which in the early 90s had a different reputation, and now it's the rice bowl of the state, where one of the. I was in the executive director's office at the World Bank, which is where the policy, it's like the board of the World Bank. So I was advisor out there to the executive director. So that gave a kind of a holistic perspective of global development across countries, and what's happening, what's the best practices in which country. And the very fact, I think the World Bank has it's a very intellectual organization, and being in that environment helps you to sharpen your saw, so to say, also. So that too has been, and I think that's really helped me also implement programs and design programs coming back in India and Odisha.
And this was during the time you were doing your doctorate in international?
Yes, I took a sabbatical and did my doctorate in international economics, international development.
Right.
So that of course helped me to collect my thoughts, and hopefully I hope it has shown up in the work that I've been able to implement in Odisha.
Thanks, Dr. Saurabh Garg, for giving us that time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.